Shadow work is about exploring the unknown parts of your mind, the parts that you have hidden or repressed in order to grow or even to survive and fit in the mold of society. So yes, shadow work is all about exploring your fears, your doubts, and emotions such as guilt and shame and jealousy and anger, but and this is where people get wrong, shadow work is also about exploring your talents, your dreams, your aspirations, and the parts of you that are afraid to shine bright. So if you're someone who is feeling stuck, repeating old patterns, feeling like you're not making progress in life, or maybe you find yourself getting in the way of your own success, then shadow work may be the turning point that you didn't even know that you needed to step into the next chapter of your life. So in this video, we are going to explore what is shadow work to begin with, how to start shadow work journaling and why it is important. I'm also going to share journal prompt for shadow work and a very special journaling technique for you to meet your shadow on the page. And then towards the end, I'm going to share a flip through of the shadow work journal. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Juma. I am a certified Journal to the Self instructor. If you don't know what it is, you can check the link in the description below. And this is the first YouTube channel dedicated to journal writing for self-discovery, healing, and growth. So if this is something that interests you, remember to subscribe so we can stay in touch. So let's begin with what is shadow work. The father of shadow work is the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung, who first developed the concept in the early 20th century. According to Jung, our psyche is composed of several distinct but interrelated parts. On the conscious level, we have our ego, our conscious identity, our sense of self. We also have the persona, which is the outward face that we show to others. Then, on an unconscious level, we have our shadow. And this is the part of us where we have our repressed emotions, impulses, and thoughts. And this is the part that we often hide from others and even from ourselves because we are not aware of it. It is in our unconscious. However, it highly impacts our behavior, our emotional states, and reactions. And according to Jung, he believed that exploring the shadow is essential for personal growth and individuation, that is, the process of becoming your most authentic self. Now, on a side note, according to the book The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, the number one regret that people have at the end of their lives is that they wish they had the courage to live a life that is true to themselves instead of the life others expected of them. And this is the priceless benefit of shadow work. You get to know the deepest parts of your being, so then you can have the courage to live your most authentic self. So how do we do shadow work? Well, there are many ways, including therapy, meditation, and other practices, but today we are going to explore shadow work journaling. Shadow work journaling involves exploring these unconscious aspects of ourselves in the safety of the journal through writing. And the goal is to bring the unconscious to consciousness so you can integrate the hidden and repressed parts into yourself. And there are many benefits of shadow work journaling. First, it brings you closer to your life purpose because as you identify your pains and triggers, you are being shown what you truly care about and how to serve. Then it will also be spotting patterns of your behavior and emotional states that no longer serve you and change them completely. Third, you'll develop a deeper love and understanding towards yourself and therefore improve the quality of your relationships by becoming a more compassionate person, not only towards yourself, but also towards others. And ultimately, you'll have more courage and strength and confidence to face the unknown, to embody your whole self and grow into your fullest potential. Before we start, and as a disclaimer, shadow work journaling is a powerful practice, and without the appropriate container, it can put you at risk if you are feeling mentally or emotionally vulnerable. So as always, remember to seek professional guidance and support as you integrate the insights received. Now, how do we start shadow work journaling? The first step is for you to get a journal. You can, as always, type as well on a digital device like a laptop or on your phone. But when it comes to choosing the right journal for you, you always have three options. First, a dedicated journal that can be the pretty journal you bought a few years ago but you haven't touched yet. Or you can use a journal that has been already used, which means that you'll have different topics into one single journal. Or you can also get a guided journal like the shadow work journal that went viral on TikTok. But there are a couple on the market, so see which one resonates the most. And if you choose a non-guided journal, you can begin with shadow work prompts. Now, journaling prompts in journal therapy, they are called springboards, and it's a technique to focus your writing, and just like diving boards at a swimming pool, they provide a jumping off place for you to get into the journaling waters. And there are many shadow work prompts out there which can also be overwhelming, so I selected 10 journal prompts that I find essential for you to begin with, in which 5 they are questions, so they tend to generate more feelings, the right side of your brain, and 5 are what we call sentence stems, that is sentences for you to complete, which tend to generate more facts-based writing and narratives and awaken more the left side of your brain. So these are the 10 journaling prompts. If you want, you can take a screenshot. Which emotions were invalidated during my childhood? When do I feel most envious, and what does this envy reveal about my desires? In what ways do I sabotage myself? Who are the people I admire the most and why? If I had unlimited money, how would I live my life? Now the sentence stems. Some parts of myself I tend to hide are: in my family, I am the one who. Some recurring patterns I notice in my relationships are: I feel most connected to myself when. What I really want in life is. If you'd like more journaling prompts for shadow work, check the article that I collaborated with Mindvalley, and the link is in the description below. Now, I would like to share with you a very powerful technique for shadow work that is called the dialogue, and it was developed by Dr. Ira Progoff. Dr. Ira Progoff is considered by many the father of journal therapy. He was an American psychiatrist who found that the clients who wrote inner journal were able to work through issues more rapidly, and through his research, he developed the intensive journal method in the 60s, which is a recognized journaling method for personal growth and self-discovery. Now, fun fact, in the 50s, before developing the intensive journal methods, Dr. Ira Progoff studied in Switzerland with Carl Jung. In other words, the roots of journal therapy are intertwined with the work of Carl Jung, and in essence, it is a shadow work practice that is designed to shed light on the unseen parts of you, and it gives you the space to make the most out of it. Now, going back to the journaling technique, the dialogue involves creating written conversation between different parts of yourself in which you play both parts, such as your conscious self and other aspects like your inner child or inner critic, or even more abstract concepts like your dreams and fears. There are many ways that you can use the dialogue technique, and you can learn more about it in the Journal to the Self program. But for shadow work, I would recommend you to start with creating or writing a dialogue with your emotions, because your emotions, they carry information about your shadow. They are like messengers guiding you from beyond, like in the poem of The Guest House by Rumi, in which he says, "This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival." And then he ends with, "Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond." And so the dialogue is the place where you can invite listen and connect with your emotions. And on paper, it will look like a movie script. For example, me. I'm scared of doing shadow work. Fear, as you should. Can you handle your shadow? Me, I actually think that this is what I need to move forward with my life. And then it is a good practice at the end of the dialogue to thank your dialogue partner and ask permission to contact again for future conversations. Now, the tricky part is that we are not always aware of our emotions. So to make it easier to recognize them, I'm adding a list of feelings in the description below. Another option to do shadow work is to get a guided journal in which you can already find prompts and exercises that allow you to delve deeper into your shadow self in an organized way. Now, if you're just getting started, then I would say that the prompts and the dialogue, they are more than enough for you. But if you want to go deeper and allocate, let's say 1 month to 3 months to your shadow work, then I would highly recommend you to get a shadow work journal like this one that went viral on TikTok that you can find on Amazon. You can also find the description in the link below. Now let's take a look of what's inside. The shadow work journal is divided into 4 parts. First, an introduction to shadow work, including what it is, where it comes from, and it also gives you foundational recommendations on the importance of self-compassion during the process as well as staying grounded. Now, something that I noticed on the emotional triggers is that it only includes low-frequency emotions such as anger or guilt. But what about recognizing as well emotional triggers such as excessive generosity, which often indicates people-pleasing tendencies and fear of being rejected? I think it's also important that you take into consideration that the emotional triggers can also be seen by the outside as positive. Now, the second part is shadow work exercises. And what I love about this is that it goes beyond journaling because it includes practices such as meditation, breath work, and EFT tapping, which I find essential to have an holistic approach to shadow work. Another nice touch is a QR code that leads to YouTube videos, and you can find them in different pages. The third part is shadow work journal prompts, and they're divided into different themes such as your dream life, jealousy, anxiety, parental relationships, and you'll notice that each theme has 3 prompts. Now, the last part of the shadow work journal is called Get to the Root, and it is a section to be used when you're struggling with your shadow in real time. So you have a 1-page template repeated a couple of times at the end of the journal. Overall, in terms of content, this is a great guided journal. No wonder that it went viral on TikTok. But in terms of physical format, it doesn't lay flat, so it's not that easy to write on it. So what you can do is to have the shadow work journal to inspire you in terms of exercises and prompts, and then you can write on your own journal your answers and your journaling entries. Now, to conclude, remember that shadow work is about bringing your unconscious to the surface to make it conscious, so you can bring it to a level that you can work with. Not only your fears and what it's quote-unquote negative, but also your aspirations, your deepest desires, and the light in you. And remember as well that shadow work is a practice, and it doesn't have to be that scary if you approach it with curiosity instead of fear. And as always, your journal is there as your accountability partner for this journey of self-exploration and self-understanding. Now, something that I did on the last video was to ask for you to drop a heart in the comments below, so I know that I have watched this video until the end. So please do that. You can choose the color for the heart that resonates with you the most right now. And thank you again for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye!